Hi, you're watching Get Loud About Your Life. I'm your host, Dorothy Guerra. Today we're going to talk about transforming into your best self with the help of a life coach. Now, with the process of using yoga, meditation, and some of the other healing modalities that I've brought to you from the weeks, I find it fascinating to talk about having a life coach be there to sort of pick you up and put you in the right direction. Sometimes we just get stuck. So it doesn't matter how far inward we go with our personal journey, doing our postures, our meditation. We need somebody who can say, hey, unstuck yourself this way. Maybe there's a different perspective in the way that you're doing things. Today I have Carla Paiva on the show, who has her own show called Carla Paiva on Frequency 5 FM Life Coaching, and she's going to discuss with us the aspects of the mind and 3 different ways of addressing people's situations and just encouraging them to move on the right path to get loud with their life. Hi, how are you?
Good, Dorothy. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
No problem. So I'm really excited for you to share your aspect of life coaching with us. Why don't you tell us how you got into life coaching and the importance of it is for you?
Sure. Well, I started life coaching when I was actually enrolling myself in school for my legal career. Then I discovered, you know what, there's more to it than just that. So I figured my purpose is beyond the legal. Then I started doing research for the coaching, and I enrolled myself with the coaching program, and I actually successfully got my certification, and I was really happy because I have a lot of experience within my life that I can share and actually help others to impact their lives and allow them to unstuck and overcome those barriers.
Exactly, and this is a big thing I find about life coaching today. There's so many life coaches, there's so many even books and resources and online courses. I'm finding that the life coaching world has become extremely saturated. How do you think is the best way for people to find a life coach? Like, how do you make that perfect fit to life coach and client?
Well, I first have to hear my client's needs and see if we are a perfect match for each other. So the way I see it is I hear them out, I see what are the issues, can I really help this person? And the key is most of the times I am able to help them, but I also have to see, are they willing to be ready for a change? And if so, then they have to commit, because if they commit, then I can deliver.
Right, and that's a thing. Let's talk about change. And like today's show is about becoming your best self. Life is a journey, and everything that happens to us is a process that takes us to another level or to another place. And I find that life coaching is important for people that sort of get to a certain place that are either trying to make sense of their past or want to change their present or completely don't understand where they're going in their future. As far as you as a life coach, can you tell me what you think is the most important thing for a person to get out of life coaching?
Yes, I have actually a program that I set for my clients, and it's the mindset program. Okay, so there's the fixed mind step, there's the mindset characteristics, and there's the growth mindset.
Right.
So the first step of the mindset is where the people are actually in a present, right? So I really have to study and see where are they stuck, what are the issues, and why are they keep repeating what they're doing in the present. So the mindset characteristics is when we sit and we make a plan in order for them to reach to that goal, wherever is in the future. So that's the future setting, okay?
Right.
So the mindset for growth is actually placing that plan that we have and we talked about for the future, we put that into action.
Right.
So they're actually I'm allowing the client to commit and put into action, and that's where they will see growth, and we will start seeing change.
Right. And I think one of the things too with people is, is consistency. I think a lot of the times people get stuck in their life because they either lack motivation or they battle procrastination, and they have a hard time staying consistent. How, as a life coach, do you work with people in tackling procrastination and keeping people motivated?
Yes, what I do is I call them up and I say, hey, listen, it has been 2 days. Like, for example, if someone wants to lose weight, they say, well, my problem is I can't seem to get out there. Okay, do you have running shoes? No, I don't. Did you buy them? No, I haven't. Okay, so go out there and buy them. So I'll check on them in a few days, because depends on the day that they have told me, right? Then I ask them, have you bought the running shoes? So I basically do like a checkup on them to make sure they are following with the program that we had set it up for them to get there.
Right, and I think that's one of the most important aspects to life coaching, is having somebody there who keeps you accountable, right? And I think that's probably why most people lean towards life coaching. Now, as far as yoga and dealing with the mind and dealing with a life coach that kind of pushes you into a conscious level, I know we had a conversation about that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Oh, that one would be the self-consciousness, which I find that coaching and the yoga implement each other so well, just because of the fact that we do focus a little bit in the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical, right? So with regards to that, when I communicate with my client, I make sure that their energy, their well-being, their physical and their mental health is in a line with each other in order to move forward, which that's the same concept that yoga uses, right?
Right. And then as far as working with your clients, how do you feel, how do you set those goals? Like, how do you create a goal pattern? Like, if somebody was going to listen to your words on today's show and take something from it, what would be the number one goal that you would set for them?
The goal that I set, I even have a quote, is listen to your vision and stop the excuses.
Right. That's a big thing. And I think that's as far as getting loud about your life, we make excuses for everything, or we wait. There's that common idea that, I'm just going to wait a little bit longer for the right time, right? We're always waiting for this right time, and I don't believe that even exists. Like, the moment is always the right time.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. What is the right time? Sometimes we wait, and we think, okay, it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to go to the gym right now because I'm waiting for my career to settle. But then why do you have to wait for your career to settle in order for you to start working on your physique, right? So why do we have to wait for certain things to go into play in order to move forward? We don't have to wait. We can actually be able to multitask and do things at the same time. Because one thing of the fact of losing weight doesn't have anything to do with your career, right?
And now that's, it's easy to say to somebody, well,
Yes.
Now is always the right time, but how do you actually get somebody to implement an immediate change like that in their life?
Well, that's when I would set the mindset 3 steps. That's when we would look at the present, try to see where we want to head to, and actually put that into action. Don't just sit there. And then me doing the follow-ups and making sure that they are doing. If they're not doing, then I will need them to come and see me, and we need to really sit and talk about what is that it's stopping them from not committing and moving forward to the new change.
Right. And another thing too is a big thing that stops people from moving forward, is that they think they don't have enough money, right? Money seems to be a big inhibitor for people to go and start a new business or to make a change or to make a move. As a life coach, how do you address money issues?
With regards to money issues, there's many ways. First we would have to see, why can't they get a loan, Why can't they go, like for example, some people want to go back to school. Oh, but I don't have money. But you can apply for OSAP. What is the issue? You don't know how? Then I coach them through it because I know how. I've been there, done that. So I don't just coach my clients in the emotional or physical or whatever state that they are. I coach them through whatever applications, whatever paperwork that they need, to get through in order to get to their goal, to get, to the point where they feel that they have reached there.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So why don't you just sort of tell the audience here, what situations do you sort of deal with as far as, hey, you might need a life coach? I throw some scenarios out there.
Well, I actually deal with refugees, immigrants that come, they're new to the country and they need assistance. And especially I do speak, read, and write Spanish, Portuguese, and English.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yes, so I do cater to the Portuguese community, the Spanish community, and obviously the Canadian community. So by having those tools, I have a flexibility to be able to assist immigrants or refugees or people that have issues in regards to, let's say, even if they want to renew their permanent residence card, I can coach them through it. I'm not counseling them, but I can coach them through it.
Right.
Right? And you know what? And they learn. As I'm coaching them, they're getting knowledge and they're learning. I also help, let's say, someone going through divorce. They're not aware of how everything works. I know because I've been there, done that. So the fact of my life experience that I've been there, I know how it is to be on zero and not have any knowledge whatsoever. And the fact that I have the knowledge, we are way beyond zero stage. So I already did the hard work for everybody that comes to me and says, listen, I have this problem. So can you help me? Yes, I can. And this is how we do it.
Right.
I go straight forward to the actual process. So they don't have to worry about having to, how do I do it, research or whatever, because I already done that. I know.
That's amazing. And one of the last topics I want to touch on before we hit the yoga mat together is negative self-talk. So there's one thing to understand that you can use a life coach or take a yoga class or a meditation class or online, in person, all these resources we have. With negative self-talk, it's getting people to say, hey, wait a minute, I need to make a change. It's that step of deciding to change. How do you address negative self-talk? What would be a tip you could give the audience if they're battling the negative mind mental activity?
The way what I would like people to understand is everybody has negative thoughts. Okay, now the question is bringing those negatives into a positive. And it's not easy to do. No. It's very hard. We all go through it. Okay, but the thing is focusing and being determined on the goal. How bad do you want that? That is the question that I ask everybody. Yes, you want that, but the question is, how bad do you want it? Are you determined and focused enough to get to it and actually commit to it? That is the main aspect of it. And it's hard in the beginning. It gets messy in the middle. But then you know what? It gets beautiful at the end because you actually accomplish and you do it.
That's right.
It all has to do with determination, focus, and how bad do you want that goal.
Right.
And once you start, do not just quit.
Right.
Keep on going because you start and there's a finish line.
And that's the beauty of having a life coach, right? Is because somebody is there to sort of declutter the mind a little bit. It's just taking that initial step to reach out to a life coach and feeling worthy, which is another thing maybe you can just address really quick, is self-worth.
Yes, self-worth.
Because if I don't feel worthy, how much can a life coach tell me to change that mentality of non-worthiness?
Well, the beauty of a life coach, right, it's that we know and we see the value that you are as a person, right? Because we are outside of your box and your bubble. So we see what you cannot see. And therefore, we are here to enforce the client and advise them, listen, I hear you say this, but how about that? Because you also mentioned the other part, which is a positive. So it brings them to realize, oh wow, I actually did mention that. And I actually have that value. So it awakens in the person that they're actually worth something and they have a value. And that's very important, which nowadays, with the media and society and everything, believe me, people are so easy to get like discouraged or feel like, oh, you know what, somebody said that I was worth nothing, right? And I tell them, no. If somebody says you're worth nothing, grab that, be the fuel for you to get there.
Exactly, that's beautifully said, actually. And what about past trauma? How far do you go deep into past trauma that might be creating negative behaviors, which is ultimately creating that stuckness to your best self?
That's great you brought that up, actually. Reason being, it's because I actually, when I start with my client, I want to learn about the first sessions. It's about who they are as a person, about their past, because I want to know their foundation and what's making them break, like be stuck and not being able to move forward. And a lot of people, they're just stuck in the past, and it's like a baggage. They bring it to the present. That's why they can't unleash that and be able to go beyond that and move forward. And believe me, a lot of people, they're not aware of that until you coach them, and then they understand. And then once again is the fact that I'm outside of their bubble. I could see that, but they're not aware of that.
Oh, that's amazing, and that's a really good point. I think if anybody out there is feeling stuck or feeling caught in a pattern of negativity or past trauma, or just need someone to make sense of going forward, yoga is a wonderful place to go for your inward journey where you do the self-talk. But again, a life coach is somebody who stands outside of your box, like you said, which is a great comment, and sort of pulls all the stuff out of you that you just are not seeing clearly.
Yeah, you're not aware that it's there, and that's the reason why everything in the present seems to not be able to move forward.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me. You're going to hit the mat with me.
Yes, I am.
Today we're going to in light of being unstuck and finding your best self, we're going to get right into a yoga seated twist. And the reason I've chosen a twist for today's session is because it balances the left and the right brain hemispheres. And sometimes we're very dominantly right, very dominantly left. And when we're stuck, we have the inability to change our mentality. So by practicing yoga twists, we give ourselves the opportunity to change our perspective and unstuck ourselves and be on our way to our best self. So we are going to practice Marchasana pose today, and this is a seated twist in yoga sequencing. Now, as I mentioned, the reason we want to twist is because it is a great way to get energy to flush through the spine and to bring balance to the left and the right brain hemispheres. So whenever you're feeling stuck, whenever you're feeling not so loud about your life, hit the floor, take a seat, think about where you're at. Perspective this way, change your perspective this way, and allow yourself to see things in a different light. Okay, so let's get started. We're just going to take the right foot, okay, and lift it up here. We're going to cross it over the left thigh. All right, so we're grounding here through our sit bones. We're creating that center balance. Now, if I'm going to use this as a way to unstuck myself, I'm going to take a moment to reflect. What is it that I'm going through right now? What is it that's bothering me that I need to address? Okay, start there. Take a moment, and then from here, you're just going to move with that energy and take it over to the right. Okay, and how do you feel? Sit up tall through your spine, because all that energy moves through your spine, so it's very important that we keep our vertebrae straight. And then from here, just really sitting with, how do I feel about the situation that I'm in? Okay? And then to switch perspectives, we come back to the center. We change our legs. Cross over the other way. Are you with me here? Okay? Get centered again. All right, now address how you're feeling as you went this way. Now let's flush that out. Take a new perspective. Now for a moment, visualize yourself changing one thing about your situation and move with that mentality or that thought and take it to the other direction. Sitting up tall, again, very mindful that your spine needs to be aligned from the top of your head down through your tailbone. Keep all the energy moving freely in your body. Big breath in. We're going to take it back to center. And if you really practice that properly, addressing your emotions, you're going to recognize that you come into a place where you feel awake, a little bit more enlightened into the moment that you're in. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I look forward to being with you next week.